welcome to the next lesson. I'm Justin, and we're going to continue on with our stickman figure. And today, as promised, I am going to be working with the upper arms. Now, one thing I did want to add as far as last week is that our proportions, I didn't talk about the proportions of our torso. So here you have it. You have the head, which I just put the number 1, meaning that's just one hole right there. The chest would equal the same height as far as the head, same height there. And so would the torso. So it's 1, 1, and 1. And then the neck is about half the diameter of the head. And so I put a half there. So if you were wondering about the torso, as of now, I would just say 1 half 1 and 1. And if you keep those proportions, it's definitely going to be helpful for you in your drawing career. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to go over here and I want to show this human figure without all these numbers beside it. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with the shoulders. Now, let me grab my brush here. And I think I'm going to stick with the red just so it's easier to see. And let me go over here. All right. So basically we have these circles here. Now you notice they're not as big as the head and they're actually inside the chest a little bit. You don't want to draw the circles directly outside of the chest because it's just going to make your the broadness of your shoulders like way too broad. So anyhow, so what I did is I put them inside. Now why isn't this drawing? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here and let's talk about these shoulders. So one is I have them actually inside the chest a little bit, and I'll go ahead and finish those off. And here we go. Now they're not like completely halfway, but I would say they're pretty darn close. And yeah, we're just going to stick with these circles for now. I think that's plenty for the shoulders. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add these arms. Now, let's take a look at those. And what I did is I drew the upper arm here, which has your bicep and your tricep, and then also the elbow. Now, the elbow, if you were to put your elbow straight down, it's just above the belly button. So your belly button's kind of about right here. And then your elbow is just about there, just kind of shaving right above your belly button line. But as long as you keep that in mind, then you should be pretty good. Now, one thing that you want to notice is that the head is actually about the same distance as this line here. So again, something to look for. If this is equals 1, then so would this area here where your bicep and your tricep would be. Although right now you just have noodle arms, and that's all we're going to be doing is these little noodle arms. So let's look at the limitations of these arms and what your arms can actually do. So we're first going to take a look at the front here. Now, don't be scared. This really isn't actually all that complicated. It looks like a mess right now, but believe me, once you actually see what we're doing here, it's not too bad. Now, we just looked at this. We just looked at the shoulders with the arms hanging down, so that's what we have here. We also have this shoulder where the arm is bending forward kind of to the side, and that's about as far as you're going to be able to go, is where your arm kind of bends about to the middle of the chest and then is going to kind of stop. The tension is going to make your arm stop there. And the same would apply for this arm as well. However, I didn't want to draw that because then it would just look even more messy than it already does. Now you also have the arms as if you were just holding your arms straight outward on both sides. And then if you were to put your arms upward, if you'll notice, if you put your arm upward, right where your the middle of your elbow is, your elbow pit, if you will, is right around the top of your head. So that's this area here. I don't think we're all exactly the same, but I think we're all pretty close to being the same. Some people I've seen with monkey arms and other people I've seen with regular arms. I think I kind of pass with the regular arms type of people, but hey, if you have monkey arms, great. It just means you should be a gymnast or something like that. But overall, this is about where your elbow is going to meet with the top of your head. But if you were to actually start down here, your elbow would be somewhere kind of in this area. So what happens? Why do I have this extra circle? And that's because when you raise your arms, you're also kind of raising your shoulders as well, which actually gives this arc that we'll talk about later. But what ends up happening is you kind of get this little arc here between your shoulders with your collarbone, and then your shoulders raise, which gives your biceps and triceps a little bit more space to go upward, and then your elbows would actually indeed be up there. You go ahead and try it. You can actually see that your shoulders do raise when you raise your arms. And then they come back down when you start, keeping your arms in this vicinity. All right, I think we beat that horse to death. So let's go ahead and look at the side view. And again, looks a little messy, but let's just take a look at it. So here would be the side view of your character. You have your shoulder with your arm hanging down. Now, one thing I did want to make mention of is when you bring your arm back, it only goes back so far. You can't just keep going, or you're just going to break in something on your body. So please don't try to do that. If you stick your arm straight out here, great. If you raise your arm just like this, that shoulder is going to raise as well. So that's what this right here would look like right here. Again, you can only go so far back, and this is probably even further than most people can do. But if you're stretching, maybe you're holding onto a bar and you're leaning forward, you could probably get to about this point here. But from this point, let me go over here. From this point to this point, these are off limits for your arm when looking at the side view. So you're going to want to make sure that you're not drawing your arm doing some weird contortion out here on the side. Now, bear in mind that arms can swivel, and at that point, it might be it's going to look like it's coming out this way. But if you were just to raise your arm straight up and then try to go backwards with it, you would not be able to go into this area. This would be a gray area for you. So anyhow, there you have it. Let's go to the next page. And this looks kind of funky, but it's actually, there's some cool factor here. This would be your shoulder, and this would be your elbow, and then this would be your arm. So what's going on here? It looks like this shoulder's getting closer and closer, and the bicep and tricep are slowly kind of diminishing, and that's exactly what's happening. If one thing you could do, if this doesn't make sense to you after I'm done, get a couple of styrofoam balls and a toothpick, and then what you should do is take that styrofoam ball and toothpick combo and just turn it towards yourself. And what you'll notice is that the arm part, the toothpick part, starts to get shorter and shorter till you don't see it anymore. It's hiding behind the elbow. And that's exactly what's happening here. And this is going to be something that you really want to work with throughout your drawing your body parts, from anything, any kind of limb, any kind of finger, toes, all of those, is that as it comes forward towards you, some of those body parts are going to disappear behind the other parts. And so that's what makes it so interesting. Here we would have, basically, if you were looking sideways at a person, you'd see the shoulder. And then if they were holding their arms directly toward you, in reality, you probably would see some of the bicep and tricep, which we'll get into later. But as of now, that little noodle arm that you're seeing here would not be seen. The only thing you would see is the shoulder and the elbow. So that's basically what's going on here. I'm just kind of showing you that, yes, the arm can come up in front, it can come up beside, it can swivel, can do all sorts of things. And so now what I want to do is I want to go look at a few life pictures of real people. And we're going to try to work with this and what I showed you in the previous page and see if we can't make something out of it. So let's get started. Let's start with this this picture here. Now this girl, she's doing some sort of yoga move, something that I would never be able to do. Well, actually, you know what? I could do it, but I just choose not to. I don't think I could get away with that pink headband. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that, and I'll show you this this picture with less opacity so that we can see what we're doing here. And just like last week, I'm going to sketch out the parts of the body that we know how to draw. All right, so we're going to start with the head. And I think that's probably placed pretty decently. And then we're going to go ahead and create that line for the eyes. And then we got the nose there. Well, made her nose a little big, but that's all right. All right, next we're going to do the neck. Now remember, the neck, if you're like unsure about the neck, how long it's supposed to be, well, you're just going to kind of eyeball half of the diameter of the head. And there you go. Now you have your neck. And you know basically where her chest is going to start. Okay. Now she's a female. She's got parts, but we're not worried about that right now. All we're worried about is this chest portion. Okay, because this stick man could essentially be a female or a male at this point, and this is not a political video, so please don't take it the wrong way. There you have it. So I have the spine, I've got the chest, I've got the head, and now let's work with these arms. Now these arms are being raised. They're being raised upwards. So what's going on? Well, we have these shoulders now going a little bit higher, like I showed you before. And then we have our, let's go ahead and get rid of that neck so we're not confusing anybody. And then we have our arm, and then we have our elbow. So if we were to take this picture out of the way, now we can see what's going on. And this is something that you can do with any picture of any human being and just start practicing, because that really is the best route. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the next photo. Now we've got a guy playing baseball, and he looks very intense. All right, so I have already reduced the opacity. I'm on the right layer here, and so I'm going to go ahead and get started with this head. Okay. And I'll say it again and again, but always start with the head. I think it's a good idea. You start with the favorite part of your body. I've seen people start with eyes. I've seen people start with hands. I've seen people start with arms, because it's whatever you think is your favorite thing to draw. But if you don't start with the head, everything kind of goes out of proportion. Just like a home, you want to start with the foundation. Well, kind of feel like the foundation of a human is their head. Everything else kind of follows it. So here we go. We got our stick man head. We've got his neck, and remember, it's halfway. So there we go. And then we're going to draw that chest. Now his chest is kind of leaning forward-ish, I would say. So we're going to kind of have to just play a little guesswork on here, because we've got a lot of shirt going on. We've got these padded, I don't know if it's padded or he's just like super muscular. I don't know. I know I don't look like that when I play baseball. All right, so there we go. I think that's pretty decent. If you were to take the head and put it here, I think it would match. Now remember, it's because it would probably start about here, because we're seeing this like upper portion too, but the head would be right there. Okay. All right. Now let's go ahead and get this. Let's keep that line nice and smooth for the spine. And then we'll stop it about there. I think that's good. I don't want to go too far down, because then I would be getting out of proportion. All right. So I'm just going to stop there. And then we've got a shoulder. Let's see here. Hold on. I don't want to do that. We've got the shoulder here. Now remember, it's still within this chest a little bit, right? And then we've got an elbow, and we've got the arm. All right. Now this one, his shoulder's kind of coming up a little bit from what I can tell. And then he's got his elbow over here. Now, see, this is what I'm talking about. As the ball comes, or as that elbow, as the elbow goes away from you or it comes towards you, that line starts to dissipate. It gets a little bit shorter. So it looks like as if it's going further away from us. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of that photo, and there you have it. You've got yourself a pretty cool looking stick figure. Those arms really just help bring this stick figure to life, and I'm really excited to get onto that forearm that we will work with next week. But pretty cool, right? I think it's cool. All right, we've got this gymnast, and remember what I said last week. I think probably some of the best things to draw right now to just get you out of your box is draw people that are doing wild things. And so doing any kind of sports, any kind of martial arts, anything that has to do with the movement of the body is way better than if you're just drawing people walking. Okay. Later on, we can start drawing people that are actually interacting with each other. That's pretty fun too. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get this head started. And I'm going to, yeah, I think that's about good. And let's see, I'm going to put that line there. Now she's got her eyes closed. Our characters just got eyes the same no matter what. So that's what it's going to look like. Looks like her neck isn't actually, excuse me, it looks like her neck's not actually bending all that much. But it is, the chest is definitely pushed out. Okay. So I would say that's probably pretty cool right there. And then it kind of is coming down and almost turning a little bit. This girl's definitely got some bendies going on. All right, so there you have it. You've got yourself a pretty cool looking character, and then now we just got to draw these arms. So again, she's got her arms raised, so those shoulders, I'm saying elbows, those shoulders are going to be raised as well. All right, now why am I not drawing the full shoulder? Well, because this is a lot of meat right here. We've got muscles, we've got organs going on. Just drawing the overall body shape. So I'm going to keep my circles like this. She's got some really nice muscular shoulders. I'm not too worried about that. I'm just drawing the under, it's almost like the skeleton of the person. And then we'll go ahead and draw that elbow. Now, one thing I did want to mention, and I'll mention this again next week, but when I'm drawing arms, even though they don't bend, I always tend to draw them kind of arcing just a little bit like that. I never usually draw my arms just straight. When I do straight, look, I even bent it a little bit anyways because I'm so used to doing it that way. But when you do it straight, it just doesn't look alive to me. This is just me. I might be wrong. But when I also draw my forearm, it tends to bend as well. Now, this is the front of a human, and this would be the back. All right. So the arm is bending like the arcs are going forward with the human. Okay. Now, if I was to draw the human from the front, I'd probably draw the arms a little bit like this. They're almost kind of bowed a little bit. But that little bit does definitely help me a lot when I'm drawing. So as you can see, because her arm's going upward and kind of turning, that bow kind of, that arc kind of goes this way. And then let's see, I'm going to probably follow that same arc there and then draw the elbow. So let's see how that looks. Boom, there you go. And again, it's kind of like we talked about last week when you just draw the parts that we know to draw, you realize they're not doing anything all that fantastic. I mean, it's, yeah, the head's cocked back a little bit. You got the chest and stuff, but compare that to what she's doing here, and she just looks all contorted. But we'll get there slowly but surely. And once we do, you're going to realize that drawing a human body doing a lot of different positions isn't actually that hard. I mean, it's hard, but it's not that hard. All right, let's get to the last picture here, and we've got ourselves a surfer. So I used to surf. I used to bodyboard. Never actually surfed, but I was a pretty good bodyboarder. I could do some cool moves. Surfers didn't like me. They still don't like bodyboarders, so it is what it is. I don't do it so much anymore. Kind of got scared of got a phobia of the water. A fish started to freak me out. I know, it's weird, but it's just the way it is. So now I'll just leave that to my brother, and I will stay on dry land and away from sharks. All right, so we've got the head. Now, this guy is got his neck looking up, so he's arched. Now, I'm not going to draw the neck as far as you'd think I would, because the body's far away. Because of that neck is not going to look as long, because some of it's actually behind the head. Okay, so that's where you got to use your you got to kind of eyeball things sometimes. All right, so let's draw this chest. I'm going to say that it stops about right here. Let's see. And again, let's keep that chest looking like a taco as much as possible. If you didn't see the taco lesson, I would definitely recommend it, because who doesn't like tacos? All right, here we go. So we got his chest, and now if you were to 3D this, it would start about here, and it would bend this way. All right, so there's our spine, the rest of it, that is. And now we just have to draw these shoulders, okay? Oh, this guy's definitely got some muscular shoulders as well, so I don't need to come way out here yet, because our stick man's not muscular. He's just going to be a stick man. He's always going to be the same stick man. That's what's cool about him, because he's what we work with, and we can build muscles onto a stick man. Now, this arm's going to be longer because we're seeing the whole arm, okay? And if you want, you can kind of give that a little bit of arc. Don't over arc it, just a little arc. That's not what God told Noah, just a little arc. Don't over arc it. And then he ended up making this humongous thing, and then all the animals had to come, and it just became a party that he could not handle. That is totally not true. Don't believe me on that one. All right, so now we've got the elbow over here. And there you go. We've got the spine, the arms. Let's get rid of the surfer. And that's pretty cool looking. I think that looks cool. He looks determined. You know, you put some eyebrows on him, and look at him. He's ready to go. He's like, this could actually be a position for like a football player, maybe he's lined up and ready to do some sort of move. So anyhow, you can use these positions for all sorts of things. In this case, this was our surfer, and you can tell what I'm saying is true. These are good proportions. They're proportions you can work with, and you can see these guys, even doing some of their craziest moves, you can see that their bodies are still within the limitations of what a body can do. So practice, find some live people to sketch over like we did. And then next week we will work with the forearm and the palm of the hand. My goodness, are we already at the upper half of the body? I can't believe it. I will see you guys next week, and until then, God bless.